Yes, the Casanovians. All right, boys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, sayonara. I want to talk in this one about the hidden force which is secretly sabotaging your dating life. And I guarantee nobody has ever spoke to you about this thing before. All right, I'm not going to do a live stream which is dedicated to looks, money, status. I'm not going to tell you you must become a high value man, make lots of money, develop unshakable status, build a 10-pack, start making millions of dollars a year, and then beautiful women are going to magically start throwing themselves at you. Nor am I going to teach you 5 simple steps to trick any woman into bed. All right, if you're completely new to my channel and you're thinking, who is this fucker who's wearing a white gown, pair of sunglasses, and looks as though he's situated in Cape Town? My name's Kristian, and I'm not a dating coach, I'm not a day gamer, and I'm certainly not a pickup artist. The way that I perceive myself is a freedom from bullshit practitioner. Okay, everything that I do is an extension of my freedom from bullshit personality. I believe in the modern world, the modern man has lost his balls. The ability to go over to a woman who you find attractive, stone cold sober, for me, is one of the greatest demonstrations of freedom from bullshit, regardless of what society has programmed you into believing, whatever you've been brainwashed by the brain dead into believing. Oh, walking over to women is low value, giving women compliments is low value, all of this nonsense, all of this noise. My work seeks to penetrate through the bullshit. And when I'm speaking to you, I'm not speaking to you as a guru, I'm speaking to you as a brother, all right? Somebody who has experienced different parts of life. I'm 27 years old. All I know is I know nothing. The more I learn, the less I know. But I aim to document my epiphanovas on these live streams because I appreciate how difficult the current dating world can feel. Yeah, you've got all of these different perspectives, different voices, different commentators telling you what you need to do. This is what you should do. This is what you must do. But the way that I see things now is beliefs are not binary. Everything exists on a spectrum. And the things that I share with you in these streams is simply things that I've learned. They are simply practices that I live my life by at the moment. And I really hope you find value in the things that I talk about. So in this stream, I want to talk to you boys about this hidden force that I've not seen any other people in, let's just call it the dating space. Nobody talks about this thing. Everyone online will teach you technicalities. Oh, this is how you walk over to a girl. This is what you need to say. Push, pull, vibe, stack. Oh, wait until she's hooked. Now you have to transition into assumption stacking. Oh, you have to wait until you look like you've just come off the front cover of Men's Health in order to be worthy of approaching that woman. All of this garbage from people who, quite frankly, do not know what they're talking about. I learned something interesting the other day, and this is going to tie in to the thing that I want to talk to you about. So I used to be a magician, right? And if you know anything about magic, you've probably heard of the verbal incantation, which is abracadabra. Have you heard of that term, abracadabra? It's like a phrase that magicians used to use. Not really the contemporary magicians like David Blaine or Dynamo, but certainly back in the day, abracadabra was used by magicians. And when I first started learning magic, I was reading old school magic texts, and they would always explain that before any magic occurred, there had to be this word or this phrase to foreshadow to foreshadow the fact that magic was about to take place. So it would have you say abracadabra, right? Now, what I've learned recently is that word abracadabra has its roots in Aramaic Hebrew language. And abracadabra in Hebrew actually translates to I create as I speak. Yeah, I create as I speak. And this is the hidden force which is secretly sabotaging your dating life. It's not the way you look, it's not the size of your biceps, it's not the money that you've got in your bank account. It's the way that you perceive yourself. It's the way you talk to yourself. This is the thing which is slowly sabotaging your success with women. And that's what I want to go deep into in this live stream, because nobody else will talk to you about this stuff. Most bozos online will try and sell you some $997 course, Approach Anxiety Annihilator, or they'll try and funnel you into some bullshit $50 a month school community. None of this bullshit works, right? Oh, approach anxiety. You don't have approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is not real. It's not a disease that you can catch. You're not socially anxious. You just lack practice. And as soon as you understand, it is the words, it is the way you perceive yourself, it's the way you talk about yourself. This is the thing which is sabotaging your dating life. I create as I speak, right? In the beginning, there was the word. All of these teachings, they're all rooted in religious texts. If you ever read the Kabbalah, like in ancient Judaism, they speak about how language crafts a custom-made reality. If you can understand this next thing that I'm about to tell you, it will completely transform the way that you approach dating, business, social relationships. And it's all we are is repeated patterns of thought and behavior that we've accepted over time as our identity. And we then solidify this identity through the language that we use. So maybe like me, as a child, you struggled socially. Yeah, I used to walk around the playground on my own. I used to hide in the toilets at school because I didn't have anybody to play with. And I had this crippling anxiety of what if the other children saw that I was on my own? So I used to hide out in the toilets to avoid that public shame, that public humiliation. And because I didn't feel socially worthy as a child, I spent most of my adult life always feeling like an outsider, always feeling invisible, like I didn't matter, like my presence didn't mean anything to anybody. And in my head, I told myself stories that I simply wasn't enough, right? And it was the stories that I told myself which created a reality that I didn't want, but I decided through the language that I was using. So right now, you might have come across my videos online and you might start thinking to yourself, I want to start learning the art of daytime cold approach, right? Maybe like me, you have exhausted all other options. You don't want to be using dating apps. You don't want to be hanging around grotty nightclubs until 3 a.m. You don't want to be DMing women on social media. And you don't want to be trying to strategically get women through your social circle. And maybe like me, you view the discipline of day game as something which goes much deeper than just talking to women. This is a complete overhaul of your current character. It is a rite of passage. It's how you can forge a new identity by dive bombing into uncertainty and doing things that terrify you on a daily basis. Cold approach is merely a catalyst. It holds a mirror up to who you are right now. And through this discipline, you can become a version of yourself who maybe you've always imagined being, but you've been too scared to try. So this notion of, let's just say, wanting to go over to a woman and give her a compliment, oftentimes this is met with resistance which has been caused by ourselves. And we then tell ourselves stories which castrate us of our confidence. So you might say things to yourself such as, I am terrible with women. This woman is going to reject me. I've always been terrible in relationships. And all of this is coming from a place of ego. Okay, the point of the ego is self-preservation. The purpose of the ego is to be right. So if you're telling yourself the story that you suck with women, and even if you do go over and attempt to talk to that woman, the ego wants to be right. So when I'm coaching my guys one-on-one and they're struggling with a sense of identity, usually they'll say things to me such as, oh, Kristian, watch me go fuck up this approach. And then they'll walk over and they've got full conviction behind their perceived lack of self-worth. And then the approach will go terrible and they'll come out of that approach and they'll say, see, I told you so. Congratulations, you've proved to yourself that you are an unlovable piece of shit. Where do I sign up for that course? Do you understand? Like, this is the self-sabotage. You're telling yourself a story that you've told yourself for so long, and then that forces your actions to align with the stories you're telling yourself to create a reality that you don't actually want. Very often, we know what it is that we don't want, and we put so much energy into the things that we don't want that is usually the thing that we receive. So in order to get ourselves out of this trap, this invisible trap which castrates so many men, the guys who I start working with one-on-one, maybe you who's watching this stream right now, when you shut off all of the noise, you stop consuming content, listening to music, watching sports, the opioid of the masses, music and sports, these circuses which are designed to dull down our senses. And when you actually sit with yourself alone in a room for 10 minutes and you actually let these thoughts surface in your minds, you'll realize that oftentimes we are crushingly cruel commentators of ourselves. The way that we talk to ourselves in our own heads is diabolical. And we wonder why our relationships suck. We wonder why we can't walk over and talk to that pretty girl. We wonder why we don't have the confidence to start that business. We wonder why we keep attracting toxic, negative people into our lives. And it's all down to the way that we perceive ourselves, the way that we speak to ourselves in our own mind. It's all rooted in the language that we use. So rather than telling ourselves a story that we're not worthy because we are not making a certain amount of money, or we're not worthy because of our childhood, or we're not worthy because we don't look like Mr. Olympia, all of this nonsense, like what even is success anyway? Because I think for a lot of people, they think success is materialistic. It's the money that you've got in your bank account, or it's the things that you own. It's like in Fight Club. In Fight Club, they say the things that we own end up owning us. Yeah, we get too much attachment to these materialistic objects, these status symbols, these acquisitions. And the thing that I try and make you boys aware of all the time is it's not what you say. It's not how you say it. It's who you are when you say it. And the biggest shift in my own transformation and my entire journey is documented on this channel. So you can go back onto my oldest videos and you can see the person that I used to be. I used to subscribe to all of this nonsense, looks, money, status. Oh, I need to learn the London day game model. I need to pretend to be something that I'm not. I need to stand in this way. I need to be the performing monkey. I need to use all these clever lines and routines and whatever, all of this garbage, all in the hopes that I would feel worthy enough to receive love from the feminine. But now what I understand is it's not about being universally attractive. It's not about seeing every approach as a make or break situation. It's not about attempting to be something that I'm not. It's simply amplifying the qualities that make me authentic and understanding I don't need to be universally attractive. It's about attracting our people and repelling the rest. And we do this once we're in a place of true emotional authenticity where, yes, you improve yourself, you work on yourself. If you want to make more money, build a better body, live an extravagant lifestyle, then you do all of these things because it pleases you as a man to do so. Rather than doing these things because you want external validation, you're doing these things because it nourishes your soul. And then the most important thing is, once you do start to improve yourself and stack these wins, and now all of a sudden you're looking better, you are making more money, maybe you're getting dates with women who you historically would have labeled as out of your league, you talk to yourself like you actually matter. And this is how you become a god over all of your dating problems. It's referring to yourself like you matter, like you are actually important. So in my free course, it's called my Most Fuckable Man course. It's the title I don't think truly reflects the value inside the course. But anyway, nonetheless, in my Most Fuckable Man course, I'll link it in the comments once this live stream is finished, I walk you through a 3-step system to rewire your entire internal belief system. Because once you understand this is an internal game that we're playing, I believe that we are spiritual beings enjoying a human experience. It's not about the technicalities. Sure, when guys work with me in person, I give them the entire cold approach playbook. I hold them accountable for their actions. I tell them the technicalities. That stuff takes 30 minutes, 1 hour at the most. Well, what I really help my guys do is get to a place of self-adoration rather than self-deprecation. The questions that I ask my guys: what do you believe to be true about the world that isn't? One of my favorite quotes is, who would I be in the absence of my concerns? In other words, what would you do if you weren't scared? Because imagine right now, just imagine as a thought experiment, imagine right now you believed and you subscribed to the belief that you were the most important person on the planet. Just imagine that for a moment, because for a lot of you, it might make you feel uncomfortable. Because maybe you've gone through the entirety of your life always playing second best, always being invisible in your friendship group, always wanting to approach women, but feeling perpetually paralyzed to the spot because in your mind, you pedestalize other people. You're thinking, nah, she's probably got way better options than me. Why would a woman like her ever entertain a guy like me? And these stories that you've been feeding yourself have created a custom-made reality. And that's what's so important. This is happening by design. It's not happening by some luck. It's what you're creating. And oftentimes we're not even aware of it. Again, all we are is repeated patterns of thoughts and behavior that we've accepted over time as our identity. And the identity which we've created is solidified through the language that we use. So for me, this live stream is a call to action to, first of all, wake you up from your linguistic sleepwalking, to make you realize the way that you're talking to yourself in your own mind is creating all of your perceived problems. And in my free course, what I make you aware of is, if we start referring to ourselves in the third person as if somebody else is talking about us, and we create what I call a personal renaissance document, and we write down affirmations in this document which align with a reality that we would prefer to live, and then we repeat these words, these incantations. It's like pixie dust, right? I think people don't understand this. Like, we're doing alchemy on ourselves every single day through language. Again, in the beginning, there was the word. We become what we practice. So if you've got an idea in your mind about the person you want to be, you get a crystal clear idea of who this person is, what he looks like, what he talks like, what his mental health is like, how he refers to himself when no one else is watching. Then you make your actions align with your ambitions, and you are hyper vigilant on the way you're speaking to yourself. If you're hanging around with negative people at the moment, people who castrate you with your confidence, if you want to start going out there and learning cold approach, but your friends just don't get it, or you're receiving a lot of toxicity from your family members, maybe like me, you want to travel the world, you want to make money online, you want to have an incredible lifestyle, you want to find a wife-worthy woman who you can do life with, but maybe you're not currently in a tribe of people who support your ambitions, then it's time to cut the cord. It's time to shoot the puppy. It's time to get rid of these negative influences in your life, because we do become what we surround ourselves with. You will learn through osmosis, whether that's positive or negative. But if you understand that it's rooted in the language, the way that you're talking to yourself on a daily basis. And again, I lay out the entire roadmap in my free course, and I'll link it in the comments. But once you start talking to yourself like you actually matter, your life will begin to flourish. And this is not woo-woo, abstract, law of attraction bullshit where I'm getting you to sit cross-legged on the floor, lotus flower position, think and grow rich. This stuff works. It works as long as you do. Because what I would make you aware of is right now, as you're watching this stream, as you're listening to me speak, you are a product of all of the actions that you've taken, and all of the actions that you've taken and the decisions that you've made, they've all been fueled by the language, by the stories you've been telling yourself. So if you're not currently satisfied with the man that you are, the life you're living, the women you're dating, or the money you're making, that is your fault. It's all on you. And as soon as you take radical responsibility for that and you understand it's the language that you're using which dictates the actions that you take, it's the actions which create the behavior, and it's the behavior which sculpts the identity over a long enough time horizon, that puts you into a place of power. Now you are in full control of the trajectory of your life. And I'm not saying, right, maybe you were bullied at school, maybe you went through trauma as a child like many of us did, maybe you're situated in a city right now which is not conducive to your expectations. This is where I was 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, I was broke as a joke. I was a low-life loser. I struggled with sexual performance anxiety. And a big part of that was because I was telling myself the story I wasn't good with women. I wasn't good in bed. I wasn't able to satisfy a woman. And those stories that I told myself became actualized into reality. So when I said to you at the start, I'm not posing as a guru, right? I am attempting to humanize this process, this dating game, because there are so many bad actors and bad commentators in this space who they don't go deep on the identity side. They'll teach you technicalities, but they don't teach you about how to form the identity. And it's through the language. It's through the language that we're using, okay? So if you've not done so already, download my free course. It's called My Most Fuckable Man course. I'll link it in the comments once this live stream is finished. For me, this is the course that I wish was available to me when I first started. It would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of hassle, and a lot of wasted effort, because as soon as you understand that we are limitless beings, yeah, like anything that we want, it's already out there. Yeah, once you accept that we're living in a simulation, right? Nothing is real. Perception's reality. Even if it's not true, we make it true by believing in it. Again, as a man thinketh, so is he. It's all rooted in the biblical text. You don't need to download a $997 course. You just need to read the Bible, read the Kabbalah, learn about language, learn how language is actually formed, even something as base as money. This is another interesting concept for me. Everyone's chasing money. Oh, I need more money. Oh, I want more money. But very, very few of us actually take the time to define what money actually is, because Socrates said, the beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. If I said to you, what is money? What would your answer be? Like, what would be your definition of money? Because for a lot of you, you don't actually know, but yeah, it's something that you chase. Because I've got different definitions of money, but one of my definitions is money is the language of love. The language. Money is the language of love. So when I was 5 years old, my parents got divorced. And then my mum met somebody else who she's been in a long-term relationship with for almost 14 years. And recently she decided to end that relationship because the relationship it failed. Okay. Now, this was a big step for my mum because she left that 14-year relationship and she's now living on her own, and she recently moved into a new house and she was feeling very anxious. She was feeling very unsure of her decision. So she'd moved into a new place and it was completely unfurnished. So she didn't have a bed, she didn't have a microwave, she didn't have all of the things that you would need to live. Now, I could have sat down with my mum for 5 hours and reassured her that everything was going to be okay. Right? I could have used my words to inject reassurance into her. But instead, what I did is I wired a big chunk of money into her bank account. And I said to her, buy whatever you need. Just get whatever you need. And she just burst into tears. Money's the language of love. You've heard the old aphorisms. Put your money where your mouth is. Actions speak louder than words. So it's not even just the verbals that we use to express ourselves. It's the way that we act. It's the actions that we take. The actions carry words. So by me looking after my mum, using money, this abstract tool, which actually has no inherent value. If you take a $10 bill to Islamabad, it doesn't carry any weight. It's a social contract that we've created between parties where we deem it to be valuable, right? Money is the language of love. So if I want to look after my people, I use money as a tool to achieve that. Money is purchasing power, which enables me to live the life that I want to live. I'm not materialistic. I don't need a flashy car. I don't need a fancy watch. I don't need to acquire these status symbols to think that I'm worthy. My worthiness comes from within. It comes from a perceived sense of effort and accomplishment. My sense of self now doesn't come from the things that I own. It comes from the way that I perceive myself. As soon as I make money, I use that as a tool to look after the people that I care for. And that makes me feel good as a man, because I do believe men are loved for the value that we provide. But when you're on an aeroplane, they always say, fit your own face mask first. And that's why it's so important. Before you achieve an abundant dating life, before you start to make a certain type of money, before you become a certain type of person, it starts with the way you talk to yourself. It starts with the way you look after yourself, the narratives that you feed yourself. Because it's just as objectively true to think you are the most important person on the planet as it is to think you are the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I have a strong belief in this notion of solipsism. Like, I don't know what it's like to be anybody else. I'm only conscious of my own consciousness. I wake up most days and I think to myself, what if I am the only living being on this planet? And it's this fun thought experiment which makes me feel like the chosen one, yeah? I feel as though the meaning of life is the fulfillment of a promise. I believe before I was put on this earth, I made a pact with God to do something extraordinary, to be excellent. If you look at the etymology of that word, excellent, it means excellarum, which means to rise to great heights. That's a decision that I've made in my mind. Again, it's just as objectively true to tell myself this narrative as it is to think I'm just one in a multitude of many. I don't matter. I'm not important. It's a game of perception. That's all that this comes down to. There are no rules. Nothing is real. All money is It's energy. You send energy out there into the world. None of it's real. And as soon as you understand that you are the architect of your own success, you are the king of your own reality, don't worry about being better, just focus on being different. Live for an audience of one, rather than marinating in the matrix of mediocrity, being a crushingly cruel commentator of yourself. Live like you actually matter. And one of the most practical things that I can give you, something that I've started doing recently, is starting to express gratitude in the mornings through, you guessed it, the written word. All right, putting my thoughts onto a page to solidify the beliefs through language. What am I grateful for? Being able to wake up every morning in this beautiful city, being healthy, having love in my life, being aligned with a true passion which speaks to my soul. Like what I'm doing right now, creating these live streams, coaching guys one-on-one, changing lives for a living. None of this has happened by luck. It's happened by design. I made the decision 4 years ago that I would create this custom-made reality. And I've done that by stacking skills, by learning a kaleidoscope of different skills, learning cold approach, learning content marketing, learning copywriting, learning how to coach people, learning how to actually cold approach, learning to express myself on camera. I've stacked these skills and I prioritize the behavior over the belief because belief follows action. But at the bedrock of all of this has been the way that I've perceived myself, the way that I've spoke to myself. And again, if you download my free course, my Most Fuckable Man course, there's a module titled Mindset Mastery. And I walk you through the entire system to actually become that version of yourself who you've always wanted to be, but have been too scared to become. If you clicked on this video and you're looking for generic dating advice, if you're looking for 3 simple ways to make any woman like you, if you're looking for the best open, or you've got questions about, oh, Kristian, my dates are not going that well, what do I do? None of the surface level stuff is going to answer your problems. It's all internal. Yeah, it's all about the way that you're perceiving yourself. And it's took me a long time to learn all of this stuff, but I'm telling you now, regardless of where you're at on your journey, regardless of how old you are or how much skin in the game you think you've got, or whatever programming has been fed into your mind, oh, it's looks, money, status, be a high value man, it's low value to compliment a woman. You're operating in a low frequency place. Like when you get to this place of higher frequency, where you operate from these emotions of love, of joy, of gratitude, that's when the world opens up. Because now when I go out into the world, when I speak to you, when I spend time with my girlfriend, when I'm interacting with my mum, when I'm interacting with my clients, my only mindset now is, what can I give to the world? How can I create something that truly changes people's lives? How can I speak to people's souls? How can I change people's lives with every piece of content? How can I give? That's all I want to do. I simply am a vessel that wants to be in service. And it doesn't come from this false altruistic place that I'm just doing this for the greater good. No, a rising tide lifts all the boats. Again, the meaning of life is the fulfillment of a promise. It makes me feel good as a human being to know that I'm having an impact on people. But this is how you win. And again, this is just a thought for me. Like, I might be completely wrong about all this, but when you focused on impact over revenue, when you focus on how can I elevate the collective consciousness, how can I bring people up? It's like I'm going all the way to the top and I'm taking my people with me. That's how you win. That's when you become transcendent, because now you're not dancing to the music of the masses. You're not being brainwashed by the brain dead into wanting to want what other people have told you should want to want. Instead, you do what you do because it pleases you to do so. And again, you write your own life script. You write your own narrative. If you want to go out today and compliment 5 women and need nothing from them, if you want to hold a door open for a woman, if you want to take a woman you've just met to a really expensive restaurant and just shower her with appreciation just because she made you feel happy today, and you do all these things and it's coming from a genuine place of high intention, low attachment, meaning I want you but I don't need you. I'm doing this because it pleases me as a man to do so. Dude, that's when you win the game, when you no longer need anything from anybody, because that is true abundance.
The person who has the most cares the least. When you're operating from this place of abundance where you no longer need anything from anybody, you just do what you do because it pleases you to do so. You're operating from a place of wholeness rather than from a place of lack, and you achieve this state by actually living like you matter, talking to yourself like you are your own best friend, being your own biggest cheerleader, taking joy in everything that you do. Like, dude, there's a fucking world out there. There's rabbits hopping around in fields. There's fucking cows getting milked. Like, how incredible is this? Like, no one even knows what's going on. Right? When we have a zoomed out perspective, we're on this crater in the middle of space, rotating around, a 1 in 400 trillion chance of us being born, apparently. And like, you're getting pissed off because some girl didn't text you back. Low frequency states, man. There's bigger shit to do here. So again, I might know nothing. The more I learn, the less I know. But if there's one thing you take away from this stream, let it be, all we are is repeated patterns of thoughts and behavior that we've accepted over time as ourselves, and we then crystallize these thoughts and behaviors through the language that we use. It's a game of language. In the beginning, there was the word, abracadabra. I create as I speak. It's all rooted in the language. Go read the Kabbalah, go read the Bible. You don't need the way of the superior man or the fucking $1 million fast lane, all this new agey bullshit. Go back to the source, see what actually matters, see what has stood the test of time. This is the stuff that is actually going to give you an abundant dating life, an abundant whatever life you want. And again, I'm living proof of this. 4 years ago, I had what I perceived to be nothing. I was a low-life loser. I was a porn addict who had erectile dysfunction, had £24.82 of universal credit in my bank account. And now I'm living the reality that I always had in my mind, because imagination is the precursor to creation. All right? Imagination is a precursor to creation. So download my free course if you want a deep dive into everything we spoke about here. We're only just scratching the surface on this live stream, so apologies if it wasn't the most coherent stream of consciousness. I just press play and hope that good things come out. I really hope that you've taken value from this. If you have, consider dropping it a like, consider subscribing. That's all nice in it. And yeah, boys, I love you all very much, and I hope you all have a magnificent day today. All right, love you. Bye.